Are we going first?
All right, the college game day game of the week in Autzen Zoo, Eugene, Oregon, UCLA at Oregon. Oregon is a 6-point home favorite in this one. And I went back and forth with this one, honestly. These two offenses are so similar. Like, Bo Nix has been just very good ever since the Georgia game. And DTR has been, I don't know, probably the best quarterback in this conference. I mean, Caleb Williams has obviously been very good, but I don't know. This UCLA offense has been really good. Oregon's got two guys averaging over 6 yards a carry. And then UCLA's got Zach Charbonnet just as the workhorse by himself, basically. But looking at them, the biggest, and both defenses have been really good this year. But looking at the biggest difference I noticed was Oregon is a 11th in the Pac-12 in completion percentage allowed, and they've allowed 13 touchdowns and only have 5 interceptions on the season. Not great passing numbers to allow when you're about to face DTR, who's been one of the better quarterbacks in the conference, like we said. This is, however, UCLA's second road game of the season, and their only other road game was at Colorado, which I don't even know if there was 20,000 people at that game. Colorado games haven't looked too hot this year. So I feel like I've been going back and forth on this one.
Mm-hmm.
But just because of the road environment, I think I'm going to take Oregon, but I'm going to take UCLA against the spread. So I think it's closer than the 6, but I'm going to take Oregon to pull this one out.
Whew. This, like you said, I went back and forth. It being in Oregon is a big part of it, but also UCLA, they benefited from their two last big top 25 wins. Washington at home on a Friday night, your favorite in spooky season, and then the following week, getting why am I blanking? Who do they just have at home? Why am I blanking? This past week,
UCLA. Who did they play last week?
Who did they just have last week? Why am I blanking on who they just beat at home last week?
Utah.
Yeah. So when they beat Utah, they beat Washington. It was one of those things where they got them both at home. And hey, that's the schedule. It worked out. You took care of business at home. Going to Oregon is a totally different animal. You talked about Autzen and just it's going to be an electric atmosphere. It's the Chip Kelly homecoming again. He's been back obviously a couple of times, but obviously it means a lot for Chip Kelly and also the Oregon Ducks to take care of business against one of their iconic coaches of the past that we grew up with. Just loving the Dennis Dixon and the Jeremy Masoli days back in Duck Country.
I don't know. I think I may have already been grown up then.
Masoli? I think
I'm like 20 or something when Jeremiah Masoli is there.
Is he? Okay.
Maybe
Dennis Dixon?
Who's the national championship quarter? Dennis Dixon. That was the 07 year because when he got hurt. I would have been 17 that year.
Okay.
But number 1, what was the freshman quarterback? That's who went to the national championship when they played Auburn. Like, it was like Darren Johnson or something like that. I can't remember his name, but
that sounds close.
It's something like that, but I'll have to look it up. But yeah, that's
very thin.
I'm like 20 years old when they were in the national championship. I guess they were in 2 national championships, the one with Mariota as well. But that was, what was Helfrich?
Yes,
that was his name,
Mark Helfrich.
So those are the golden years of the Oregon Ducks. Dan Lanning's trying to bring them back.
Well, the Ducks have won 9 of the last 10 against UCLA. Oregon has the number 1 rushing defense in the Pac-12, only averaging 98.0 yards per game. But guess what? UCLA coming in right after them at number 2. So both defenses are much improved. Both are stingy. Both don't allow you to run the football. But both the Ducks and the Bruins love to run the ball. Zach Charbonnet against this run defense against Oregon is going to be the matchup to watch. And I'm very curious to see if he's able to do anything major here because UCLA, number 1 and 3rd down conversions in the Pac-12. So they've been really good standing on the field and keeping drives moving. Basically the antithesis of the Cal Golden Bears, who just brought a retired offensive line coach out of retirement to help with the offense as an analyst. But What people might not remember is that Bo Nix is completing 70% of his passes at this point. He has really turned it around. I think people just have this lasting image of what he did in the Georgia game, but he settled in, him and Kenny Dillingham. Like, Bo Nix was right. I think we can go ahead and say, based on what we've seen from Auburn this year and what we've seen from Bo Nix in Oregon, he made the right choice to jump ship when he did. He's actually a great comeback story. So I'm going to bet on Bo Nix doing more through the air and UCLA struggling to run the football, and DTR and Charbonnet struggling against this front seven for the Ducks on the road. So give me the Ducks to win and cover.
Put it on the board. Our next one, we're going to the ACC. This is a nooner. Syracuse at Clemson.
Can we move this to Syracuse? Can we just move this to the Carrier Dome?
Why is that? That would make it interesting to you?
Yeah, that would make it interesting. I would pick Q's, and that's I don't want to spoil my pick here, but I'm really pissed that this is actually in Clemson. Clemson got lucky here that this is the one, like, when they've had trouble with Q's in the past, and they get Q's, of course. When Q's is undefeated, they get them at home. It grinds my gears, to take your term away from you. It grinds my gears that this is in Death Valley.
It's Peter Griffin's term anyway, so I'm not going to claim it. But yeah, like you said, Syracuse they're a 13-point dog on the road at Clemson. I look at this game and I like Syracuse this year. Their defense has been so good, which is why I don't think Clemson is going to win by 13. But I can't believe, like, people, like, don't look now, but like DJ Uiagalelei is having a really good season. Like, he's got 17 touchdowns, I think 2 picks on the year, over 300 yards rushing. Like, he's been really good for Clemson this year. I think every single week I feel like they've gotten a little bit better. And I just don't think Syracuse is going to be able to run the ball on Clemson. They're I think the number 1 run defense in the country, like, giving up like 2 yards.